said we should have put into the Bill of Rights an act of medical freedom, because he saw that this kind of medical tyranny would appear. I do want to answer your question with regards to this particular situation. But let me first say a general statement. Even if this injection took away and cured 100% of all disease, and they said to me, or they said to some other person, you have to take this injection. It's your duty to the collective rights of others. That you have a duty to the collection of humanity to take this thing. I'd say, no, he doesn't. Our founding fathers said all rights come from God. They're protected by the Constitution. And this is a radical idea, because prior to this, they thought, people said, well, rights come from the government. But our founding fathers said, no, they come from God, and governments tend to take them away. So we have to protect people against tyrannical
I got you. Like I got the vaccine, but I didn't do it because I was worried about hurting anybody else necessarily. I took it because I was convinced it worked, and I don't want to get infected.
Right, and my group stands with you, John. We want people to have the choice, and we're not anti-vaccine per se.
Well, is it true that UCLA already requires vaccinations for measles, mumps, rubella, hepatitis, and stuff like that?
They do, yeah, and those are well-established, safe vaccines. They've got decades, if not centuries, of evidence for them.
That's what I want.
Well, do you have
differentiating the COVID vaccine?
Do you have any evidence about any doubts about the safety of the vaccine?
I mean, you're making an argument that they shouldn't mandate vaccines, yet you're okay with the measles, mumps requirement. That's what I'm questioning. But you're saying it's different.
That's a good question. That's a good point. Right? How can I say one thing and not fight the other? Well, they started to come out, for example, with the flu vaccine, and they've gotten more and more stringent on whether or not we can get out of that every year. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, the flu vaccine, for example, they used to just say if you didn't take it, you'd have to wear a mask during the flu season. Then last year they said you have to take it. The only exemption you can have is a medical or religious. And I said, this is strange, because this is a terrible vaccine. It's only 40% effective. There's some studies that show that it increases, one study shows it increases your risk of coronavirus infection by 36%. And another study that shows that it increases something like 4 studies that show that it increases your risk of non-flu respiratory illnesses. And one study, I think out of Hong Kong, in kids that showed that it increased their risk of flu illness. So I'm looking at this going, why are they mandating this? And in the broader context, the political structure that we're in, I think this is a totalitarian moment. I think they're seizing human rights. And so, it's changed my paradigm.
You're on some sort of leave right now, right?
Yeah, administrative leave without pay.
Now, are you going to challenge this legally to try to get your job back, or what are you going to do beyond this?
Yeah, I think we are. I'm speaking to some lawyers about this. We have a few options for it.
Do you doubt the safety of the vaccine?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have evidence of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of evidence. So, in the Salk Institute, I think in May, they came out with a study that showed that so what happens when you get the mRNA vaccine is your body becomes a producer of the spike protein. And they were brilliant in that they engineered it so that the protein would stay on the surface of your cell, and it would just be presented to the immune system. But the problem is that for some reason or another, it didn't work. And they found this in various tissues in the body. And they've shown in that study out of the Salk Institute that the spike protein itself is cytotoxic. It kills some of your cells. It damages your endothelium, which is the lining of your blood vessels. So that's what's causing the blood clots most likely. We have more and more data coming out that they're showing that there's one study that shows that the vaccinated, the antibodies that they make actually changes the shape of the protein on this virus, so that it makes it more effective in infecting your cells. I mean,
I haven't seen it, but I mean, as soon as the vaccine started, the rate of infection went way, way down. And only the Delta variant bumped it up.
That's true. Vaccination started around December, and then we had a huge surge in January, February, and then it started to come down in like March, April. So we started to, get to lower and lower cases. There's,
I mean, and you know the unvaccinated are the ones in the hospital, nearly 100%. The vaccinated people are not in the hospital. There's got to be some efficacy here.
So this is what they're telling us, right? And I know at UCLA that is the case. I'm not going to overstate my case. There is evidence to back up what you're saying. There is also evidence to show, for example, in places where the highest levels of vaccination, like in Israel, they have 80% vaccinated, but 86% of the people in the hospital are with COVID are vaccinated. So you go, well, wait a second. If the vaccine had any effect, it should be like 70% or 60% of the people that are in the hospital with COVID would be vaccinated. Because obviously, eventually, the closer you get to 100% vaccination, anyone who gets COVID is going to be vaccinated, right? So there's a mathematical formula there. But and in the UK, 63% of people that are dying from COVID are vaccinated. So you're seeing the majority of people in some places, at least not at my hospital, from what I've been told. I've asked around, and many people have told me I trust what they're saying. Not in my hospital, but in other places around the world, that the higher rates of vaccination, the patients are tending to be, the sicker ones are tending to be vaccinated.
All right, Dr. Ray, thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, that is the man, Chris Rake, Dr. Chris Rake with UCLA Health. He's an anesthesiologist, and he was escorted out of the building, and he was trying to go to work on Monday because he is not vaccinated against COVID-19. I just want to challenge one thing. This is not the first time this has happened. I keep looking this up, and it's driving me crazy. Do you trust the BBC? Maybe you don't. Out of more than 51,000 COVID deaths in England between January and July 2021, 256 occurred after 2 doses of vaccine. So I'm hearing this from people. They're sending emails. You're dying, the vaccinated are dying in the UK. I don't think it's true. That's a low number, 256 out of 51,000. So Dr. Ray gave a different number there. I forget what percentage he used, but here we go. You got your facts, I got mine, right?
Well, except somebody doesn't have facts.
Yes, once you go there and do your own research, do you believe, the BBC? Do you believe Dr. Ray?
That's why 7% don't believe, only 7% believe the news. It's all entwined, all this stuff. All right,
But
Johnny.
that means turn and believe the guy on the street instead?
Well, that's what's happened.
Yeah, that's what happened, right.
Johnny
My
Kidd.
head's exploding.
Deborah Mark is off today. Mark Runner has the news.
The president of San Jose State University announced her resignation after the university last month agreed to pay $1.6 million to 13 female student athletes whose complaint about being sexually assaulted by an athletic trainer were mishandled. Google says it's doing something to stop climate change deniers from spreading misinformation or making money.